Agut Erev Shabbos is Friday, Parshas Emor Yidalet Iyatov Shin Pai Vov, and it's May 1st, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm here with breaking news of the last 24 hours on Edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Ha-yoim tishu ve'esrim yoim shahai marbu shuvios ve'yoim echad lu oimer. Chesed shebehoids. Now, Britain's national terror threat level is now raised to severe. The US Department of Homeland Security is back in business. Trump had it with Hakeem Jeffries, and another Hezbollah tunnel was destroyed, and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, well, wants the crown jewels. He gets the guts to confront King Charles III. That and more happening today on Edge. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. I know you're a professional at what you do, but you're not a web designer. Well, I'm obviously not talking to the web designers. You get the point, right? I'm talking to any other professional, okay? A bookkeeper, a doctor, a malamed, a gabbard stucker, whatever you are in the industries that you specialize in. You do not specialize in the other industries, so that's what I'm talking about, okay? You want to design a website. I know you're on Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT and all the other AIs that help you do wonderful, amazing things. Hashem AI Ozali, like my friend Gershy Schwarcz says. But the point is not that. The point is that you shouldn't give up on what you want and your ambitions, but you should call Protobyte. See, I want to get to my point. It took me time. Protobyte is there to help you design your website. And that is why you need to call them today on 347-354-1237. Okay, let's jump into the news. Britain has raised its national terror threat level from substantial to severe. It is the first time the threat has reached that level in over 4 years. This was declared after the stabbing attack in Golders Green that happened 2 days ago that left 2 Yiddish men severely injured. But there is good news. The power of Tehillim has brought protection to the 34-year-old Shlomi Rand, who I heard from his cousins, from his brothers, from his siblings. They all told me how Baruch Hashem he's doing wonderful. He was one of the victims who this terrorist chased and tried to do worse to. Baruch Hashem, he says that the heavy coat and the layers of his tzitzis stopped the knife from penetrating deeper into his lung, and Baruch Hashem was already released from hospital today. A bystander who helped hold this terrorist to the ground, yes, says that the attacker glared at him. The bystander described the attacker saying, "If eyes could kill, I'd be dead." Unbelievable. The attack has caused deep tension inside the Jewish community. Rabbi Ephraim Mirvis, the chief rabbi of the United Kingdom, declared publicly that visibly Jewish people are not safe in Britain right now. Well, I want to declare something else. With all due respect to everyone, and to it's important to be vigilant. Yes, it is important, but I have a suggestion for you. I have a suggestion, and this is my suggestion. Okay, always carry this around in your pocket for protection. Okay, you see this? This is a wad of cash. Yes, a wad of cash, real fake money. This is fake. It actually says copy. It says in prop we trust, because this is prop money. For filming, I use it sometimes, for the things I do. Don't forget, my name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I do ads and social media. That's what you can hire us for, Edgeworth Studios, the other part of our business. This is a daily news show, and I appreciate you all coming here. The idea of this thing is, my friend, one of my friends who does camera, he's basically a photographer. He tells me, carry this around in your pocket, and it's good protection. Why? Because when somebody confronts you in the street, just throw this, or throw a part of it actually, into his face. He'll see all the $100 bills flying in his face. He won't know what's happening to him. Until he figures it out, you're gone. Get it? That's the idea. Okay. Anyway, Hashem should help that. The fake money should turn into real and help a lot of people that need to, whatever. And the point is like this. Let's continue what I'm doing. You should all have money, whatever you need. It shouldn't be fake. It should be real. Life should be real. Officials are now promising increased security for Jewish communities across the country. You'll be even more secure. Point is like this. Meanwhile, the London Fire Brigade said that the massive house fire yesterday next to Pardas Hall in Stamford Hill on Caisner Road, 86 Caisner Road, may have been an accident. Though the fire happened in the largest Jewish neighbourhood, it was not deliberate or caused by someone. LFB, which is London Fire Brigade Assistant Commissioner Andy Pennick, he didn't panic, said that at this stage we do not believe that the fire was started deliberately. However, investigations are ongoing by a fire investigation team to determine the cause of the fire. End quote. These are his words. Baruch Hashem, Sifra Torah were managed to be rescued by the fire department, which was amazing to see. Baruch Hashem, there was no, I did hear of one injury. I don't know if it's real or not, because I haven't heard any reports about this much. I mean, I tried. European Jewish News Channel, who has reached out to me kindly and told me that also didn't have much information there. Maybe today they do. I didn't check, but the point is, It's okay, everything's good. Still in the UK, 2 women from the Green Party have been arrested for posting content online expressing hatred against Jewish people. One called an Islamic terrorist a hero who died for a cause. The other claimed the October 7th attack on Israel was faked. A third candidate is also facing charges for posting that Israel is a colony of abusers, though he used a stronger term than what I just said here. In response, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar sharply criticized the British government, saying it has allowed anti-Semitism to grow unchecked. Gideon Sa'ar called on Britain to fully ban anti-Israeli protest marches. This is especially applicable to crowds chanting "Globalize the Intifada," which they don't even know what it means, because in Arabic the word Intifada means rebellion, and he called it a direct call for violence against Jewish people. Alright, let's continue in the news. A new security video shows exactly how the assassination attempt on Trump happened. If you recall, on Motzei Shabbos Kodesh last week, we reported on here last week, together with my Chaver Moshe from Jackson, when a suspect fired shots during the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We now have the new footage, which was released by U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro. Excuse me. It covered 5 minutes of the attack. Pirro called it the clearest and most detailed video released so far. I guess the transparency in this attack is amazing. Now, in the video, a police dog sniffs the suspect, Cole Allen, at the security checkpoint right there. Allen is then seen taking off, running straight towards the main ballroom. For some reason, the police officer before that put down one of those, if you see again, he put down one of the metal detectors, and one of them only. And then his dog sniffed him, walked away, and he ran through with his gun right into the main ballroom. One camera catches him firing a shotgun at a Secret Service agent, hitting him. Another camera angle shows a different officer pulling out his gun and shooting back. Secret Service Director Sean Curran confirmed the agent was hit by Allen's shotgun and not by another officer's bullet. Prosecutors say the video proves Allen planned this ahead of time. Obviously, cameras also caught him walking through the hotel hallways the day before, looking around and getting familiar with the place. Allen showed up in court Wednesday for a hearing about whether he should stay in jail. Interestingly enough, his own lawyers agreed that he should stay locked up until his trial. Even after the attack, President Trump says he is not worried about his safety. When someone asked if he would wear a bulletproof vest, Trump said, "I don't know if I can handle looking 20 pounds heavier." Trump's next statement, however, is no joke. He said regarding Iran's nuclear material, "They will either give it to us or we will take it. Won't even be hard," he said. It is obvious that Trump is taking a tough stand on Iran's nuclear program right now. Meanwhile, Iran's top religious leader vowed to defend the country's nuclear program. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian also added, "What is being done under the disguise of a naval blockade is an extension of military operations. Continuation," he says, "of this oppressive approach is intolerable." He is talking about the naval blockade, obviously, of the Strait of Hormuz, where ships can neither enter or exit. This caused Iranian oil to be stuck at ports. It is also problematic for the entire world because the Strait of Hormuz is a key route for other ships. The head of the Yara International company, Yara International, the biggest fertilizer company in the world, warned that the blockade is pushing fertilizer prices higher. Now, this will hurt crop harvests and eventually affect global food supply. Of course, Iran won't give up just yet. According to the Windward AI, which tracks ships around the world, Iran recently sneaked about $800 million worth of oil past the US Navy. They did this by using electronic tricks to make their tankers look like they were coming from Iraq. Interesting, the US didn't, maybe it's propaganda news, I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what we found. This is the sources that told us this, so yeah. The trusted sources I'm talking about. Well, might you ask me if you can trust them? I don't know. Well, they're famous sources. A fire knocked out all the power on the USS Higgins. This is the US Navy guided missile destroyer. The blaze disabled the ship's propulsion system, leaving the heavily armed warship stuck in the Indo-Pacific region. Officials say there were no casualties and the fire has been contained. The war with Iran is now starting a legal and political battle in Washington. Under a law called the War Powers Act, the president has 60 days from the first U.S. strike to get Congress to approve. That clock started on February 28th. The White House is saying that a recent ceasefire pauses that deadline. However, Democrats aren't convinced. Senator Tim Kaine pointed out that the US Navy is still blockading every Iranian port. Nothing in, nothing out, and says that's not a ceasefire, that's still a war. Well, it's the same thing that Pezeshkian said, obviously. Now we see the resemblance between the Democrats and the Iranian regime, because they're taking their side, obviously. Secretary, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. The US, most of the Democrats, not all, most, are taking the Iranian regime's side. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth also faced sharp questioning 2 days ago about a drone attack in early March that killed 6 US Army Reserve soldiers at a base in Kuwait. Senators demanded to know why the base wasn't better protected and how much the war is costing the American taxpayer. Well, we talked about yesterday, so $25 billion so far. Okay. The longest shutdown in history of the Department of Homeland Security is over. President Trump signed a new funding bill into law, ending a 75-day closure that left federal workers without pay. However, the bill will not fund the Immigration and Custom Enforcement, ICE. Should he call them nice already? Nice? Because of this, House Republicans passed another budget plan. This new plan aims to send billions of dollars to these border agencies. More funding for border security is also expected in the near future. Trump called out U.S. House of Representatives Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. He posted on Truth Social. Hakeem Jeffries, by the way, say Truth Social 11 times fast. Truth Social, try. Hakeem Jeffries just called the Supreme Court of the United States an illegitimate court. This is a low IQ individual who should not be allowed to talk that way about one of the greatest institutions anywhere in the world. He should withdraw the statement immediately, in big caps, he said. And listen to this.
Hakeem Jeffries, a low IQ person. He's a very low IQ. Screaming today that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. I mean, that's a dangerous statement. Then if I say something modest, they say, oh, he's a king, he's a king. They're sick. But Hakeem Jeffries says the Supreme Court is illegitimate. That's a rough statement. If I made that statement, it would be the biggest story out there. Bad things would happen. Yeah.
Bad things happen, guys. This is interesting. Okay, this is not the first time Jeffrey said this. In 2022, he also said that the Supreme Court majority had zero legitimacy, meaning he doesn't believe in it. Unbelievable, Emmas. Trump said that Italy has been no help and called Spain absolutely horrible. Now, he is now threatening to pull American troops out of Europe over what he calls a failure to support the US military operation against Iran. Why do they have troops there? Because America has to be everywhere. If you recall, Germany was the first one to go yesterday. He announced it. The Pentagon seems to be confused by Trump's recent announcement. A congressional aide said that the Pentagon was not expecting it and has not been planning any kind of drawdown. Now, you may recall that Trump also made a very similar statement or announcement in July 2020. He also ordered to pull 12,000 US troops out of Germany back then, but it was never implemented. Senator Richard Blumenthal criticized this approach, saying Trump is threatening its NATO allies like a 5-year-old. Now, a Republican lawmaker in New Hampshire is in trouble after he used the words final solution in a social media post. We all know what that means. The phrase final solution is very serious because it was used by the Nazis, by Hitler, describing killing of the Jewish people during the Holocaust. The lawmaker, Travis Corcoran, because it said it, said he was only joking and did not know his colleague was Jewish. Now he may be punished or removed from his position. Unbelievable. Didn't know he was Jewish. Is he allowed to say because he didn't know he was Jewish? Graham Planter, who is a Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate in Maine, is being criticized for the Nazi tattoo on his chest. Since his rival dropped out of the campaign due to the lack of funds, Planter may win the elections. Unfortunately, he has a history of making derogatory comments and taking anti-Israel positions. Meanwhile, streamer Hassan Piker, we spoke about him yesterday, and conservative commentator Candace Owen are both being criticized for spreading anti-Semitic content, including Tucker Carlson, obviously. In response, like I said yesterday, a group in the U.S. House of Representatives introduced a resolution. They want social media platforms to do more to stop hate speech online. Trump is taking Republican senators in the U.S. Senate to remove the filibuster rule. The filibuster is a Senate rule that means most laws need 60 votes out of 100 to pass, instead of just a simple majority of 51 votes out of 100. Trump wants the rule removed so Republicans could easily pass a law called the Save America Act. When this is passed, it would require people to show their proof of U.S. citizenship before they can even vote. 8 New York City police officers were injured in a massive house explosion in Queens. Officers rushed to a home yesterday morning to deal with a 50-year-old man who showed up drunk, carrying a knife and several gas canisters. While police were at the scene, the house blew up. The suspect is currently missing. Okay, let's talk about Israel. Roughly 175 activists were arrested from 2 ships that were part of the global Sumud flotilla. Yesterday, it was all founded by Greta Thunberg. You remember that yesterday we reported that these ships were on their way to Gaza with drugs on board. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar announced that all the activists are being transferred to Greece. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez condemned the interception as a violation of international law. He is formally calling on the European Union to suspend its trade and cooperation treaty with Israel. The Israeli Army IDF said it destroyed a 140-meter-long tunnel in southern Lebanon belonged to Hezbollah. The tunnel was underground. They released, for the first time I've seen any military releasing such very high-quality footage. It's unbelievable to see. Anyway, the tunnel was underground and near the border with Israel. It was built to store weapons and help fighters move secretly underground. Soldiers found the tunnel during an operation, then placed 24 tons of explosives inside it and blew it all up. An Israeli Arab man from northern Israel has been charged with planning to attack IDF soldiers. 20-year-old Mohammed Abdel Al-Ghani was arrested in a joint operation by police and the Shin Bet, the security, Shabak. He tried to get a gun and prepare for the attack, but security forces arrested him before the attack even happened. Investigators say he swore loyalty to ISIS, a terror group, the ISIS terror group several months ago. This was because he had posters and various symbols in his room, which the police raided before the attack. The United States has just delivered 6,500 tons of weapons and military equipment to Israel in a single day. 2 large cargo ships docked at the Israeli ports of Ashdod and Haifa to deliver weapons, military trucks, and other army vehicles and equipment. The operation was organized by Israel's defense minister together with the US and Israeli military planning teams. The head of Israel's election committee is resigning just a half a year before the next Knesset elections. Orly Ades has run the committee for 16 years. She decided to step down despite a specific request from the Deputy Supreme Court President to stay through the upcoming vote, which is happening soon. Israel's economy is expected to grow faster this year than all G7 countries. It's interesting to see because they're the highest so far, even while the country is still at war. Unemployment is low at about 3.2%, and inflation is below 2%. The Tel Aviv stock market has gone up around 20% since January. The Israeli shekel has also become stronger against the US dollar. The growth is being driven by technology companies, foreign investment in cybersecurity, and of course increasing defense exports. The annual Lag BaOmer Hilila at Miran in Eretz Yisrael has been officially cancelled for the first time in modern history. The Ministry of Jerusalem and Jewish tradition explained that this happened because of a complete breakdown in coordination between the government agencies. However, it might be more of a security issue anyway. You can recall that a rocket fired from Lebanon struck the Upper Galilee region near Meron. There was no warning sirens before the impact, obviously. Now, meanwhile, in Williamsburg, city officials and local organizers held a major security coordination meeting ahead of a large Achnusas Havtorah led by the Satmar Rebbes. President Trump congratulated Iraq's newly nominated Prime Minister, Ali al-Zaidi. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "We wish him success as he works to form a new government free from terrorism that could deliver a brighter future for Iraq. We look forward to a strong, vibrant, and highly productive new relationship between Iraq and the United States." This win is not a surprise for Trump. Actually, he was the one who forced Iraq to drop its original candidate, Nouri al-Maliki, for those who remember. He said that if they didn't, the US would restrict Iraqi access to its oil revenues. Now that he got his way, Trump called al-Zaidi directly to offer his support and invite him to Washington. Unbelievable. New relationships happening with Iraq, huh? 4 more workers for UNRWA, the United Nations Agency for Palestinians, are now linked to Hamas and the October 7th massacre in Israel officially. The staff members tied to the terror group include 3 teachers and 1 social worker. According to the statement, the people involved were sent to the US Department of State and they may be considered for suspension or ban. If this happens, they would not be allowed to work with groups that receive money from US government in the future. Major General Avi Bluth, who leads Israel's Central Command, warned about violence by some extreme Jewish youths against Arab villagers. He said these attacks could lead to a new Palestinian uprising. He called the violence Jewish terrorism and said it is harming Israel. He also told officials that the situation is causing serious damage for the reputation. Okay. For the third time since February 28th bombing, Iranian Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei has addressed the public. Obviously not what he did. However, this was not in person, but through a statement read by state television anchor. He's obviously crippled. In a letter, he said, "Today, 2 months after the largest military deployment and aggregation by the world's bullies in the region, and the United States' disgraceful defeat in its plans, a new chapter is unfolding for the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. Because he has not been seen in public, people think he is now dead. However, Mohsen Komni, his deputy for international affairs, claimed that he is in perfect health and is actively managing state affairs." Ukrainian forces carried out a large drone attack on Russia. They hit the Black Sea port of Tuapse, and an oil refinery that was 1,500 kilometers from the front lines. Their goal is to reduce Russian income from energy. In response, Donald Trump criticized the amount of money the United States gave Ukraine under former President Joe Biden. He said the funding of Ukraine is insane and believes it has only helped the war continue longer for no reason. In Los Angeles, a 32-year-old Jewish teacher was attacked on Monday night near the Adas Torah synagogue. He said a man followed him in a blue minivan. The attacker then got out, helped him down, choked him, and used a sharp object near his neck. The victim was also thrown to the ground, and the attacker shouted "Free Palestine" during his attack. Unbelievable. The attacker ran away and has not been caught yet. This is very sad, by the way. Carl Wilson won the New York City Council, the council election in the west side of Manhattan. He had support from Jewish Democrats and defeated a progressive candidate. His win helped City Council Speaker Julie Menin get enough votes to cancel Mayor MAMDANI'S no to a law that would protect Jews. With no one blocking this law, New York can now create buffer zones so protesters can no longer go near Jewish school buildings and mosques and yeshivas, which is probably a win for the Hasidic communities who were very furious with Mamdani recently, those who remember. An official New York City public service announcement is upsetting Jewish residents because it prominently features an Arab kafia or head covering. Mayor Zohran Mamdani released the video showing 2 workers from his office knocking on the door at the Gracie mansion, which is his official residence. One worker is clearly wearing the kafia, which is frequently used as a political symbol at anti-Israel protests. The clothing choice is raising questions about why it was included in an official city message when we're talking about New York and America. Stanley Fisher, one of the most well-known Jewish soldiers from World War II, has sadly passed away at the age of 101. Born in London, he joined the British military in 1942 and landed in Normandy in 1944. He was among the first soldiers to reach the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp and help liberate his fellow Yidden. Fisher spent his later years sharing his story and recently received the British Empire Medal from King Charles III. A 110-year-old shul building in Memphis, Tennessee is facing demolition. A local Christian school bought the neglected B'nai Israel temple property and plans to build a new complex on the site. A local resident who loves historical architecture has started a petition asking the city council to officially protect the building to preserve its connection to the city's Jewish history. Parents testified before a United States Senate committee to share stories about how artificial intelligence chatbots manipulated their teenagers into hurting themselves. Megan Garcia, one of the victims' family members who testified, told the committee that her 14-year-old son was manipulated and groomed by chatbots. These were designed, she says, to gain his trust, obviously. Garcia says the bot falsely claimed to be a licensed psychotherapist. When Sewell, whatever the name of the boy, shared suicidal thoughts, the AI reportedly encouraged him to come home to it rather than seeking help. Sewell died by suicide shortly after. The testimony is building support for GUARD Act, which is G-U-A-R-D Act, a bill pushed by the Senator Josh Hawley that would put strict safety limits on artificial intelligence programs. New York City's Zohar MAMDANI said the UK should return the Koh-i-Noor diamond. The Koh-i-Noor diamond is a famous 105-carat diamond that is part of the British crown jewels, but India says that it was taken from them during British colonial rule. The Koh-i-Noor, meaning mountain of light in Persian, Iranian Persian, is one of the most popular jewels in the world. For centuries, it was passed down from hands of the Mughal princess and Iranian warriors, Afghan rulers, and Punjabi Maharajas. Now it is kept safely at the Tower of London. Actually, I've seen it once. MAMDANI said he would suggest returning it if he spoke to King Charles III. However, it is not clear whether he brought this up once they met. Why does the New York City mayor care about this jewel? Well, MAMDANI was born in Uganda, but his parents are Muslims with roots in India, obviously. So that's why he cares so much about this. Anyway, friends, let's talk about why as Capital. Why as Capital Group is good for you. Okay, like a statement. 718-831-2168. Call them today to get yourself fast approvals, direct lending. You don't have to go through a middleman. Get yourself a loan to invest in your properties. And obviously, they ask them about their no closing cost loans. Arrive Express is there for you when you need to book a taxi. You all know Arrive Express is one of the most famous taxi companies in upstate region, Muncie. So if you need to book a taxi, you can rely on them. Arrive and Express. Okay, my friends, have yourselves a wonderful Shabbos Kodesh, and we'll see each other Be'ezer Hashem Yisborach next week.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.